Steiner Schlitter, Rabbanim Nichbadim, Mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham, distinguished faith leaders, ladies and gentlemen, it is such an enormous pleasure and privilege for me this evening to have the honor of inducting into office Rabbi Ephraim Guttentag. This is, of course, a great community celebration. And at the outset, I would like to congratulate Danny Phillips and his team for their truly sterling and wonderful leadership of this community. I'm also aware that ever since the sad passing of Leslie Barkley, Oliver Shalom, there's been a deep void in the community. And I would like to say that from everything I've heard, there is no doubt that his wonderful legacy will continue to guide and inspire many people for many years to come. This evening we can truly exclaim, Zeh hayom asah Hashem, nagila v'nismecha bo. This is the day that the Lord has made. We will be glad and rejoice thereon. I feel that it's not so much an induction, more it is the celebration of a great shidduch, and that's exactly what Danny was saying early on. But you know, shidduchim are difficult to establish. There was once a young man who was complaining to his friend. He says, I just can't find the right girl. He said, friend said, well, what's the problem? So the fellow explained, he said, every time I date a lovely girl, and it's going very well, I bring her home for a Friday night meal. It's a fantastic occasion, but as soon as she leaves, my mother turns to me, she goes like this, and she says to me, not good enough for you. So the friend said, you know, I've got a suggestion for you. I think it'll work. He said, what is it? The friend said, why don't you find a girl who's just like your mother? Okay. He said, you'll see, there's no way that she will dislike her. So after about 6 months, he was introduced to a young girl, looked a bit like his mother, sounded a bit like his mother, had similar views to his mother. It was going brilliantly. After about 4 months, the big Friday night came. After Shabbos, his friend bumped into him, he said, no. He said, Oishe, all of it. The friend said, what do you mean? Didn't your mother like her? He said, my mother loved her. So the friend said, so what was the problem? He answered, my father didn't like her. So if that happens with just 3 or 4 people involved, when it comes to a whole community, how can you please everybody? But Rabbi Guttentag, that's exactly what you have done. It's an amazing shidduch. I have the highest regard for your rabbi. I inducted Rabbi Guttentag into office in St. Anne's. I was able to witness his wonderful leadership within the Hampstead Garden suburb community, and this evening I'm inducting him into office here in Whitefield. He's a Yerei Shamayim, he's a Talmid Chacham, he's a mensch, he's a caring person, cracking sense of humor, a lovely person to be in the presence of. He'll do anything for anybody, and Rabbi Guttentag, one of the very best things about you is your Rebbetzin. And in Rebbetzin Malki, not only do we have the wife of the rabbi, but a great leader and an outstanding role model in her own right, and therefore this community is benefiting from an extraordinary rabbinic couple. And together with their dear children, Ziki, Chani, Abigail, and Benji, what a wonderful rabbinic family you have. Rabbi Guttentag, it is so challenging today to enthuse people, to bring them to Shul on Shabbos and Yom Tov. That was the case when we came into the pandemic. How much more so now, post-pandemic? And yet, you are succeeding here. People are coming in great numbers to Shul. And it's just the most wonderful sight for me right now to see, I think, every single seat taken in this shul for this occasion. It didn't just happen like this. Nobody just clicked their fingers. People here want to come to shul. And if I was to explain this phenomenon, it would be in the context of a mitzvah we were presented in Parshat Mishpatim, which we read on Shabbat. It's the mitzvah of Aliyat HaRegel, pilgrimage to Jerusalem. Shalosh pamim b'shana yira'eh kol zechurecha. It's b'nei Hashem Elokecha. 3 times a year, you must be seen before the Lord your God in Jerusalem. And there is a Mishnah right at the beginning of Masechet Chagiga, Hakol Chayevin Bere'iyah. Everybody has this chiyuv, this obligation, but then, having said everybody has the obligation, we have a list of exemptions. And one of the exemptions is Hasuma, a person who sadly is blind. Why is that person exempt from the pilgrimage? And in fact, the Rambam paskins that even somebody who sadly is blind in one eye is exempt. And the Gemara explains, the word Yera'eh, shall be seen, has the same spelling as Yir'eh, meaning he shall see. Everybody who needs to be seen needs to be somebody who has the capacity to see, to witness. And the Rambam explains, it's not good enough just to pitch up somebody somewhere for the sake of being seen. You need to arrive because you want to see. You want to experience. And in Jerusalem there was something extraordinary to experience. And if you couldn't see well enough, then you were missing out on the entire occasion. And that's why one was exempt. And I often wonder, why do people come to shul? Is it Yera'eh or is it Yir'eh? Are they coming in order to be seen or are they coming to see? Until not so long ago, there were many people for whom it was Yera'eh. Many people who came to be seen. Out of loyalty, it's the right thing to do. To sit in our parents' seat, our grandparents' seat. We support the community, whether we understand what's going on in the service or not. No, we are loyal. We are good Jews, we are good people, and our communities have benefited through generations from such truly outstanding community members. But I think you'll all agree with me that that's not necessarily the case with regard to everyone right now. We see a decline in that type of attitude. And because Yera'eh is on the decline, we're only going to get people to shul if there's something Yir'eh for them to see, for them to experience. I'll give you an example of people who come to shul in order to be seen. 4 years ago, my wife Valerie and I were in Vancouver, which was part of my role as the Chief Rabbi of the Commonwealth. We had a weekend full of activities on Shabbos in a number of shuls. On Sunday, the induction of a new rabbi, a communal event. And then on Monday, we had a few hours to spare before our flight. And our host said to us, there's a brand new shopping center with some marvelous shops. Everybody's going there. Would you like to see it on the way to there? Well, okay, fine. So we went to the shopping center. And we were walking down and my wife suddenly notices a hat shop. She said, oh, I have to go in. So we came into the hat shop. My wife was very busy looking at the hats, and I was standing like a lemon, as one does. And the owner of the store, a non-Jewish lady, Canadian lady, was behind the till, and I saw she was staring at me. I said, well, what was it? She was staring at me. After a few minutes, she came over. She very hesitatingly said, excuse me, sir, can I ask you a question? I said, sure. She said, are you perhaps, maybe, the chief rabbi of the Commonwealth? I said, wow, gosh, I am. How did you know? She said, well, I'll tell you. It's been crazy in the store throughout the whole week. So many ladies were coming in and everyone said the same thing. They said the chief rabbi of the Commonwealth is coming to our synagogue. I have to have a new hat. Now it's wonderful when people want to come to shul We need to create a better reason than them wanting to be seen. We want people to want to see, to experience. When they wake up on a Shabbos morning to say, if I don't go to shul, I'll be missing out on something. That's why I have to go. And Rabbi Guttentag, that's what you have achieved here. A reason for people to come. Community spirit, happiness, joy, ruchaniyut, spirituality. I sense it here in the atmosphere, the whole presentation, the involvement of the younger people. Beautiful davening by your chazan, amazing choir. I don't know if you have this every Shabbos or not, but anyway, it's just lovely. It's terrific. Smiles on people's faces. A place where you know you are recognized and where you feel included. Something for people to come for. It's yir'eh, it's not yeirah. And it is here that we discover that Whitefield is becoming what the Talmud would want it to be. Why do I say that? Fascinatingly, the term Whitefield is a Talmudic term. Stay lavan. It appears, it's a good quiz question. Next time you meet a rabbi, say, where is Whitefield in the Talmud? It's not in a place that many people are familiar with. The Mishnah, Masechet Shvi'it, Perek Bet, Mishnah Aleph. Our sages differentiate between Stei Ilan and Stei Lavan. A field of trees and a white field. So what is a white field? It's a field of grain. A field in which you don't have any tall trees. And the Tosfot Yom Tov explains why it's called a white field. It's because there are no shadows there. No dark patches. It is a white field. It basks in the sunlight. And that's what Whitefield is now. No dark patches. Nothing to put anybody off for. It's all sunlight. It's bright. It's happiness. It's joy. It's a glorious, wonderful community in a fantastic shul. Rabbi and Rabbi Guttentag, what a yeshikach to you for achieving this together with this wonderful community. And this evening, the date is significant. How often does it happen that a rabbi is inducted into office and the Hebrew date of his induction has a Gemara concerning it? And we're all familiar with it. Mishen Nichnas Adar Marbim B'Simcha. With the commencement of the month of Adar, our joy increases. Tonight we are presiding over a new period. It's a period of joy. So how long does this joy last for? Is it over at the end of Adar? So in the Gemara Masechet Tzadit of Kaftet Amud Aleph, Rashi is a fascinating parish. What does it mean, Mishenitnas Adar, says Rashi? Yemei Nisim Ayu Yisrael Purim v'Pesach. There were days of great miracles for the people of Israel, Purim and Pesach. Purim I can understand, but why does Rashi here refer to Pesach? Pesach is not in Adar, it's the month after. So we have to explain this fondness. As far as Rashi is concerned, Mishenichnas Adar doesn't mean only the month of Adar, but from Rosh Chodesh Adar onwards, we have the commencement of an era. And it goes well beyond Adar. In fact, Adar is not the happiest month of the year. The month afterwards, Nisan is. In Adar you got Purim and Shushan Purim. In Nisan we don't say Tachnun throughout the whole month. Nearly the whole month is Simchadik. So we go from one month to the next. The Simcha increases. And indeed, how privileged we are that in our time, the month after Nisan, Iyar, is also a Simchadik month. Previously, it was a month of national mourning, the Omer. But we have two brand new festivals, Yom Ha'atzmaut and Yom Yerushalayim, in that month. So therefore, Adar starts a process of great Simcha. And that is my blessing to Rabbi and Rabbi Guttentag this evening. From this moment onwards, as you formally take on your responsibilities, may you preside not just over temporary Simcha, but continuous Simcha. Through your leadership of this wonderful community, go Mechael from Simcha to even greater Simcha. Not just over months, not just over years, but please God, decades. That's my bracha for you. And for this community, decades of truly outstanding leadership and wonderful simcha. The joy of Yiddishkeit, the joy of an authentic Torah way of life, the joy of community spirit, the joy of friendship, the joy of warmth, the joy of everything that our faith stands for, as a result of which we can bring joy to our surroundings and to all of our society. Rabbi Guttentag, may HaKadosh Baruch Hu bless you with bracha v'hatzlacha. And I look forward to hearing wonderful news about your outstanding achievements in the future. May only go Mechael Elchael v'chin yiratzon v'nomar. Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, will you now all please rise to welcome your newly inducted Rabbi, Rabbi Ephraim Guttentag.
Rabbi, the things we don't speak more often, he literally took my whole brochure. I'll crack on. Chief Rabbi Dan Steiner, Burnham, Mayor of Greater Manchester, faith leaders, councillors, distinguished guests, family and friends. Chief Rabbi, thank you for honouring us with your presence here tonight. It's a big zechus and a covet for us, and I just wanted to say to you how delighted we were just a month ago when we heard that your name was on the King's Honours list this year. It made us so proud to be Jewish, and your leadership is just absolutely outstanding, not just within the Jewish community, but also to the rabbis who serve under your auspices, myself included, and also to the wider community. You're creating a tremendous Kiddush Hashem, and we bless you that together with Valerie you should continue for many, many more years enjoying nachas from your family, from your community, and from your achievements. I want to start by thanking this entire community for the most overwhelmingly loving way that you've welcomed Malky, myself, and our children into this community. More than we can ever have imagined. Gets a bit much sometimes. And I can't tell you just how grateful we are. Your Mancunian warmth and natural lovingness is just... it's appreciated more than you can imagine. A huge thank you to our executive and board, the Whitefield Shul congregation, masterfully led by Danny Phillips. I'm not going to mention you all by name because there's so many of you, so many, who work tirelessly for the sake of the community with no ulterior motive other than the fact that you care for our community, you care for our future, and you care for Yiddishkeit. Thank you. You're a pleasure to work with, and you care a bit about us as well. Literally, when we moved here, come to a new house, we had the treasurer, I don't know where he is, the treasurer up a ladder painting the ceiling, had the warden drilling shelves at 1 o'clock in the morning, and we had the secretary. What were you doing? You just watch it. You did a good job, because it's beautiful. But there's nothing that's too much trouble. Nothing's too much trouble, and we just appreciate that enormously, and look forward to working with you for many, many more years to come. Thank you, Choir and Chait, and our wonderful choir for not just for enhancing tonight's service, but enhancing so many of our tefillas and Yom Tov and for many syllables throughout the year, and look forward to hearing you many, many more times. You like it. Thank you. Andrea and Francine, in the office, there you are. You work tirelessly, and I know that I couldn't carry out my duties without your continuous support, advice, and your knowledge. You know everybody. I need that, so thank you. And a big welcome to Haley, who's just joined on board, and you'll be all right here. It's good. It's a good place to work. Our dedicated team of caretakers who always go above and beyond the call of duty to make sure that the many, many events that take place in this shul, everything runs smoothly, seemingly, and for that we appreciate you so much. We're very proud and happy that many of our family are here today. Daddy and Mummy, you've always been there for all of us, and you work so hard to give every single one of us exactly what we want and what we need. Okay, what we need and what we want. And all we want to do in return is to give you nachas and make you proud for many, many ways to come in good health. Amen. Dear mother-in-law, is it being recorded? Thank you for joining us tonight. We love it when you come. You fill our freezer. And you fill our hearts with love and excitement. And I know you can't always come for every single Yom Tov, but whenever you do come, it is a Yom Tov. I've been blessed throughout my life with many, many good rebbes, mentors, friends, colleagues and chavrusas. I'm especially grateful that tonight we're joined by Rabbi Dr. Harvey Belovsky, who's had so much influence on my own personal development and growth. And I appreciate the fact that you've come over here tonight together with Sophie Dunoff, who the two of you together work tirelessly to make sure that every single Jewish student in the country is cared for under University of Chaplaincy. And I'm very proud to be representing you here in Salford and Manchester. We're hugely grateful to the communities of Hale, St Anne's and Hampstead Garden Suburb who gave us the pathway. Thank you, Robert and Raymond and Clive, for being here tonight, representing the communities. You gave us the pathway, and which led us here today, and we're enormously grateful. I love your community. Come back any day. And thank you for giving us the roles that we had, which gave us your fabulous congregation. We've lived in a lot of places. Yerushalayim Kodesh, Hale Barnes, St Anne's on Sea, Hampstead Garden Suburb and Whitefield. And in many, many different houses. We've lived on Rosh Pinah, Mem Gimel, the Mount, Elmridge Drive, back to the Mount, Bromley Road, Rayburn Close, Parkstone Avenue, and Kibworth Close. We've lived in many houses, but we've only ever had one home. And that is 100% solely down to my dear Malky. One stable Jewish home, mostly functional, built on true Torah values, and the way and the sacrifices that you've made for me and for our dear children, often away from the metropolis of religious Jewish life, away from your family and friends, is nothing short of inspirational. And I thank you. I'd be nothing without you. Vicky makes up the minyan every morning, usually the youngest worshipper in the shul. Fanny, who reads the books to the younger children, Abigail, who's accepted upon herself a leadership role in the children's service, and Benji Zadan Elam. We are so, so proud of you, and we love you more than you can ever imagine. Deeply humbled by the trust and the confidence which you, the community, have placed in me. It's a mammoth task with huge responsibilities, building on the sterling work of my illustrious predecessors, Reverend Goodman, Rabbi Norman Solomon, Rabbi Herman, Rabbi Lezer Wise, Rabbi Lefkowitz, and Rabbi Jonathan Guttentag. We are charged with the mitzvah in this week's Seder of V'osu le'mikdash b'shechanti b'seichem. You shall make for me a sanctuary, so that I, Hashem, can dwell amongst you. This was, of course, given while we're in the desert. But post-temple times, the mitzvah of having a mikdash is talking about our shuls, our botei midrashim, the base of medrash, and the shul is a mikdash ma'at. It's a holy place in which we conduct ourselves in a holy way. But a shul is often much more than that as well. And I want to quote from our chief rabbi, who in his installation almost 10 years ago said as follows: traditionally, many of our synagogues have just been houses of prayer. I would like to transform our synagogues to powerhouses of Jewish religious, educational, and cultural experiences which will enhance the lives of one another. Did we get it right? Thank you. Well, this is exactly what we've got going on here. It's all happening here. This truly is the focal point of the community. This is where it's at for every single milestone in your lives, every big event in your life. The shul and the team are here for you. Births, bris milas, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, engagements, chuppahs, everything. Birthdays, any excuse for a good kiddush, basically. Right? We're here for you. Big birthdays, big anniversaries. This is your shul. And the community spirit that we have here is absolutely inspiring. When we have a member who is unwell and in hospital, have Kesher Connect, who immediately just spring into action. And there's letters, flowers, bagels, all sent to the hospital, visitors, lifts, shopping. It's all there for them. Someone has a baby, that's it, everyone's there. Giving everything they could possibly need. And sadly, when there's a bereavement, so many people have felt just overwhelmed by the love and support that this community has just been pouring onto them non-stop. And they've been able to fill their freezer and stock it up for 3 months owing to the ancient Jewish fear of under-catering. But this is what happens. It's a real community, it's a kehillah. There's another verse which refers to a shul, and it's a verse that we say every morning. Ma toivu oy halecha Yaakov mishkenisecha Yisrael. How goodly are your tents of Jacob, your dwelling places of Yisrael. Now there's a difference between an oihel and a mishkan. Oihel is a tent. A mishkan is a dwelling place. What is the difference? So the Gemara in Sanhedrin, Kohen Rebbe says that dwelling places is referring to the study halls, the base of Medrash and the basic Knesset. So what's a tent? What's the difference between a tent and a dwelling? A tent is what you take when you're travelling. Right? You're travelling, you want temporary accommodation, you take a tent. A mishkan is where it's more permanent resident when you are at home. It says we're a cook. This reflects the twin needs of our souls. We want to grow, we want to go places, we want to keep going, we want to be relevant in the 21st century, we want to be modern and cool and everything. Right? We want to keep going, we want to be in that tent of going places. Yet the soul also yearns for the eternal mishkan, to be deeply rooted in the thousands of years of heritage that we have behind us. And it's a balance. We want to be modern, innovative, and relevant, but at the same time, never, ever losing sight of where we come from and what we stand for and what we believe in. That's what this pasuk is telling us. And this is what Malki and I, the ethos of our rabbinate here. We like to make it relevant and exciting and fun. It can be fun and meaningful, but never breaking away from tradition, never chas v'sholom, compromising on halacha, on tradition, on Yiddishkeit. And it's not as hard as you may think. It's not stifling. It's good. Right, come to shul. Shabbos morning. Where should a Jew be on a Shabbos morning? In shul. And even if you don't know which way around to hold the siddur, come, you'll learn. You'll find. You'll feel part of a community. You'll feel like a link in that chain. You'll pick it up quicker than you think, and you'll enjoy being part of the community and part of your heritage. And there's many options. You go to the Hashkama at the beginning. Come to the main shul, the teen service, the children's service, the discussion group, the Piva Mitzvah minyan, and even, dare I say, our good friends down the road, Rabbi Shmuley and Sarah Jaffe, because I'd rather you go to Chabad on Shabbos than to Old Trafford. Definitely not to Etihad. Neither of you are beating Newcastle anyway, alright? All you need to do is turn up. Don't think that's too much to ask. You need to make that first move. I'm not going to slip you out of bed. If you come up here, our job, which is what you employed us for, is to look after you once you're here. And we will do that. Not that we can do it alone. We can do it because we have the best team in the world here in Whitefield. Let me explain. Rabbi Tzvi and Miriam Geffen, you're a tremendous blessing to our community here in Whitefield, and your passion for education is inspiring, and you keep me on my toes, and I need that, to be honest. So thank you, and let's make the most of having the Geffens here. Use them. Use them. Rabbi Pinney and Gila Cohen, they haven't really left, let's be honest. Right, once Whitefield, always Whitefield. The Mesiras Nefesh will walk here every Shabbos to give the daily Daf Yomi Shir, and together they're always here for the needs of the community. Shlomo Chani Bishop, there you are. You've only been here about 2 months, but the work that you've done, it is unbelievable. The relationships that you've built and the connections that you've made is unbelievable, and we know great things are going to come, and we've got such an exciting future. And then, of course, we've got the genial Michael. Where do I start? Michael. Okay. I don't know how you do it, but your energy is just supernatural. It could be 7 o'clock in the morning. It's like, good morning, Rabbi! And I'm like, not now, I've just woken. Even though that by 7 a.m. he's already done a half a day's work, keeps that positivity going until the small hours, infusing our youth in all the clubs and training and youth groups. Everything that we do is unbelievable, and we're so blessed to have you here in our community, and I absolutely love working with you. Thank you very much. Together with your dear wife Miriam, who's always at your side, opening your hearts and your home to the whole community, you are indeed a blessing to so many. We've got great youth leaders, children's service leaders, Keshe Connect for the older ones, Young Whitefield for the younger ones, and the learning exchanges and all the shiurim and everything for everyone in between. There's something for everyone. And with more and more people coming back to shul each week, the ruach is just palpable. I love it. Absolutely love it. People are engaged. People find it meaningful. The team have made a lot of effort into making our services more meaningful and more relevant. Of course, we always accept, well, I don't know about accepting, but we'll listen, perhaps, to feedback and suggestions, although it's a bit of a risky thing to say in front of any congregation, because I'm reminded, I'm aware that it's an interfaith congregation here tonight, but there was a rabbi who met a priest at one of his interfaith conventions. And the rabbi said to the priest, we really need to celebrate our commonality. We have so much more in common than what divides us, which of course is true. So the rabbi goes, all right, give me an example. So the priest says, well, okay, we have something called confessionals. So the rabbi goes, oh, how does that work? So the priest says, no, look, I sit in a booth, and someone will come in to the booth next to me, and there's a divider between us, and they'll tell me everything that they've done wrong. And depending on the severity, I advise them how they can be absolved of their sin, and they're good to go. The rabbi goes, wow, you're right. We do have things in common. We have exactly the same thing in Judaism. The priest goes, really? You have that kind of thing? The rabbi goes, absolutely. The priest goes, well, how does that work? He said, it's called the Kiddush. What happens is, after the service, everybody congregates together in the communal hall, we have a drink, we have something to eat, and people come over and talk to the rabbi. Except the difference is, they tell me what I've done wrong. So when I say we do welcome your comments and feedback and suggestions, go easy. There's two names in this passage. We've got Yaakov and Yisrael. That's the same person. They're both referring to the tribe of Israel. But our sages teach us that when it says Yaakov, it refers to the individual Jew in the tribe. But when it says Yisrael, referring to the entire Jewish nation collectively, what does this teach us? That we need both. We need communal Jewish life. Right? It takes a village to raise a child, and that's how Jewish communities work. Where you've got all the religious amenities around you. But there's also the individual house as well. And the verse that says Yaakov before Yisrael, because before we talk about the importance of a shul, and we're talking tonight about how wonderful the shul is, what's more important than that is the Jewish home. Right? Shul is not shul, and the same applies to the schools as well. It's not a place where we can outsource our chinuch obligation. Let our kids get all the Jewish stuff at the synagogue and at the school, but our home will be something else. Got to start from the home. That is what the pasuk here is teaching us. And we remind ourselves every morning by saying this pasuk. Before we even come to shul, Matov Olach Yaakov, the shul is important, but the home is more important than that. And as we begin our tenure here at Whitefield, of course we have our short-term goals, building on the very successful religious, educational and social programs that we have running here. We're also thinking of our long-term goals, because I often ask myself, where will Whitefield Hebrew congregation be in 50 years from now? Good question. Right, there are many UK provincial communities, great two listed buildings, which are a great tourist attraction, but that's it. There's nothing left. Could that happen to us? Or could we be a jewel in the crown of Torah observant communities? And the answer is, it's up to us. We can decide the direction of this community. The research is, I'm not making this up, the research is out there. It's well worth perusing the JPR's website. And many studies have been, and surveys have been taken about the future of Anglo Jewry. And they all say the same thing. So that choice is up to us. The good news is, I don't want to leave you all depressed. The good news is we've got it. We've got everything going here for us to make this last, to make this endure. Because like I said earlier, we've got the best team in the world. And we are all here for you. We can grow together. We can learn together. We can do this together. By, of course, celebrating our Judaism, not just in the shul, but even more so at home as well. And if you're not sure how to do it at home, you've got questions, Shabbos, Kashrut, Paras Mishpacha, many questions that you may have. Well, guess what? We're here. Ask. Ask us. Ask the Baal Shem, ask the bishops, ask the Cohens, ask the Geffens, ask the Chazan. We are all here for you. The future is in our hands. Let's do this. Thank you.